Hi, it's Dark Lord Cthulhu once again. I wasn't able to do a timely video over the last few weeks. The last few weeks have been just awful. Not gonna say why. Just a bunch of crap came up. But you know, I normally like to get my videos out on Tuesday or Saturday. Today is Wednesday, but today I'm gonna be doing sort of a part 2 to my good tips on DMing video because I had some questions. I guess that means I didn't cover everything I wanted to because, you know, I wanted to answer any possible questions about DMing. But this one's going to be a little short, and but it's going to contain any other tips that might be asked. I got a comment. I don't remember exactly from who. I don't remember his name or her name. But the comment was mainly about, like, you know, how can you make it easier to put together dungeons, stuff like that. Like, one question was, how can you... instead of having to go into the monster manual, what can you do to just have everything available to you? And the answer might seem simple to some people. Some people might not think of this, but you take a piece of paper, and I type it up because I have a laptop that I use as a DM screen. It's another invaluable resource, a laptop. You can bring up any chart on there if you have it readily available. Any book, you know, it makes life a lot easier. And what you do is you'll put the monster's name down. And if you have more than one of the same monster, we'll get to that soon, you put down its name, you put down its stats, you put down its armor class, its HP, and if you have more than one of the same monster, just put more than one HP bar. And what you do for an HP bar is you put a series of O's. If you're typing, it's easier. You know, if you're on a computer, you just delete, delete, delete. If you're on paper, it's a little tougher, but, you know, you just erase one of the O's or cross one out even. And, you know, that takes a lot of load off. It saves paper, and it saves you having to go into the DM guide all the time. You can do the same with traps, too. Like, just remember where everything is, and while you're narrating, like, you don't have to write out the whole dungeon. You can have it in your head. You just want, like, for example, traps, DCs. You want everything that's difficulty class, you know, dice rolls. You want everything written down, so you can just look at one piece of paper and you say, hey, right here, yeah, you gotta roll that. Well, you don't tell them what they have to roll. You know, that's a faux pas. Like I saw a video a while back. I made a comment on it. Somebody responded to me. I don't remember who, but I pretty much just brushed it off because it was a stupid response. But I said something like, you don't tell the players the monster's challenge rating, and there's no challenge rating in 4.0. But, you know, it was a funny video. I was only joking around. But somebody's like, either you're really ignorant or you're kidding. And I'm like, you don't. First of all, there is no challenge rating in 4.0, and you don't tell the players the challenge rating. I mean... And the way you pick out encounters is it by the challenge rating. Like, one level 1 player should be able to beat one challenge rating 1 monster. That's the theory. Anyway. And what I always did is I just made something similar. Like, if I have 5 players and I'm after a big encounter, I'll put 5 challenge rating 1 monsters out. And, you know, I mean, some people out there might think it's wrong. There might be another way that I didn't pick up on, but it's always worked for me. I've never had a problem. Anyway. For a boss monster, I always just took the amount of players and just made something a challenge rating equal to the amount of level 1 players or the total level. But, you know, don't go crazy. You don't want a challenge rating 5 monster against level 1s. You know, there might be a lot of them, but they're still going to die. You want maybe a challenge rating 3 or maybe a challenge rating 2 and some challenge rating 1s. You got to really just equal it to them because if they lose a lot, they're not going to be having any fun. If they win all the time, they're not going to be having any fun either. And that's another thing. I know I always say, like, character is the most important thing, you know, characters and storyline, but it's also very important to have a challenging game because it is a game after all. You got to have some degree of challenge and some degree of gameplay as well as some degree of RP. Other things I was asked, like RPing. That's a big thing. Like, some people aren't so good at it when they start off. And what I responded with was, some people are self-conscious when they try to do this. Sometimes they don't want to get in character because I guess they're self-conscious. They think it's going to make them geeky. But you know what? You're sitting down playing in Dungeons & Dragons. I don't really think you have to worry about being geeky because, you know, you're already there. And it's not a bad thing. It isn't. But when it comes to the RP thing, just, yeah, try and make it a loose atmosphere, you know, even maybe goof around a little, try and loosen things up. Because it is really tense the first time you do it. Because it's like... You know, I really don't want to act like a fool here, and you know, it does seem foolish. After you've done it a while, you know, after a while, you're just like, I don't know why people are acting like that. But at first, you do feel foolish. The other thing is maybe people aren't aren't good at RPing, and help them get good at it. Even if, like, I've had players who were horrible at RPing and making, you know, doing the storyline aspect of the game. So, I took them aside and I said, hey, this is what we got to do. And I helped them, I helped them use more descriptive words. Some of them were able to, some of them just got frustrated and left. And, if somebody's really bad at the game, and first of all, if they're just stat leveling, you got to find an excuse to kick them out, because that's not the way the game is played, and it's going to ruin the experience for the people who actually want to make a good story. But, sometimes you just got to kick people out if they're not helping anything. Like, I got this one character right now who wants to do nothing but attack. Outside of his turn and everything, he just wants to attack. And he doesn't RP, he doesn't do anything. He just says, 9 out of 10 times when we're just in a town, he's saying, okay, I want to go find some guards and fight them. I want to go into a bar and start a fight. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I told him, I'm trying to find, story-specific reasons for him not to do that. But, I'm going to have to kick him out. I might have to kick him out. I got one other player who keeps defending him, saying he's going to try and calm him down and get him, more into the storyline aspect of the game. And I'm hoping he can, because if not, I'm going to have to tell him to leave, because I can't deal with people who aren't going to play the game properly. And, there are very few ways you can play Dungeons & Dragons improperly, but one of them is just trying to, first of all, be the strongest, and second of all, just attacking everything that moves. Sometimes you got to be diplomatic. It's like real life. If you found yourself surrounded by a bunch of monsters, and they said, why are you here? Are you going to charge in and attack them and risk getting killed? If you could talk your way out of it, you should talk your way out of it, everybody, and another really annoying thing that you want to watch out for is players who sort of, they want to attack when it's not their turn. They want to search bodies when it's not their turn. And I had the same character every time someone dies. I want to search their body. I'm like, you're in the middle of a fight. How are you going to do that? But for people like that, you try to educate them, try to teach them how to play the game. Do your very best. If you can't, you have to kick them out. And it's not easy because they're going to put up a fight and make it difficult. But it's your game. You got to remember, it's your game. You're the DM. You're in charge. It's your story. They're just the characters in it. Well, they help make the story too. But, it's your game, and you have to know when it's time to just say, get out of my game. And the best way to do that, I guess, is just to get out with it, because they're going to know. People know when they're bad at this game. If you're bad at this game, it just means you don't have much imagination, which, I guess isn't bad, but I really do feel bad for you if you don't have a good imagination, because it's fun to have a good imagination. You play a lot of games like D&D and Call of Cthulhu, and, Anyway, moving on. Other tips for DMing. For creating a dungeon, as I said, keep the challenge ratings somewhat equivalent to the characters' levels. That's very important. Because if they keep dying, they're not going to want to play. Teach them how the game is played. That's very important. Show them. Say, okay, you can search whatever you want. You can do whatever you want within reason. Show them how it works and go through it again and again until people get it down perfect. Another thing, suggestion I'd like to make, keep your character sheets. I've had people fudge their character sheets when I let them hold on to them, and I know, because little did they know, I made copies. I always had a copy for myself and a copy for the players. Now I just keep the copies, I just keep the original, but I always cross-checked, and, I had one person add 1 point to their strength score to up their modifier 1 more point, and I'm like, yeah, let's see if they admit to it themselves. But I had one person completely change their sheet, and I'm like, you didn't think I was going to catch this? Anyway, moving on. I think that's really about... Oh, another thing I really want to say is, if anybody wants to play something from the monster manual, be very careful, because they can be too... Make sure, I always say, depending on the amount of monstrous humanoid levels they have to have, and I'll explain that in my next video, is going to be creating characters of monster manual races, and I'm going to try and have it back... I'm going to try and have it out by Saturday. And I probably will. I don't have all this crazy crap on my mind right now, so I should be able to. But watch out for that, because, for example, a satyr gets 4 levels of monstrous humanoid. If you drop them in with level 1 characters, they are going to be kicking butt and just ruining the game for the other players. So start them off at level 5. The way that works is they get 4 levels in their monstrous humanoid class, and then they take on a class just like you'd be multi-classing. But we'll get into it when I do my next video. But I think that's about it. I hope this helped anybody who still had some questions about DMing. And again, if you have any questions, comment, inbox me, whatever you got to do, and I will try to answer them ASAP. Thanks for watching. This has been Dark Lord Cthulhu once again. Oh, P.S. I got a new guitar. Just thought I'd show you guys. Way over there. See? No, it is not a real Fender. It's It's a Squire Strat. I got it for free from a friend because, well, you remember I did a video on I got an iPod jack to replace my broken one. Well, something was severely wrong with this iPod, and it would not open up. So this is what ended up happening to it. Let me show you what happens when I turn on the screen. But, you know, it doesn't even turn on anymore. You know, if you want to do it yourself, like you want to put in the iPod headphone jack, you know, I'm not saying it's going to go bad for you. I'm saying there was a problem with my iPod and a reason why it wouldn't open. The screen cracked. The whole thing fell apart when it came open. I did follow instructions. I did watch many videos on it, and, you know, it was old. It was 6 years. It gave me 6 years of great service, and, you know, you got a lot of people out there who talk crap about people who use Mac, like, well, you're just a bunch of rich people. You're a bunch of hipsters. That iPod lasted me 6 years. Every MP3 player I had before that died within a year. Sometimes less. My best one, actually, that I even like better than that one was this off-brand one called an iRiver. It was so nice, and it got stolen, which I knew who it was, and my teacher refused to do anything about it, but we're not going to get into a sob story here. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened to my iPod. I can't really remember where I was going with that. Oh, he was the one taking the iPod apart, and since it broke, he decided to give me a condolence gift, which was that new guitar. It's nice, you know, for paying nothing for it, so, you know, I'm not complaining. I had all my friends sign it like a yearbook. Anyway, this has been Dark Lord Cthulhu. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, if you have any questions, comment me, inbox me. There are no stupid, well, there are very few stupid questions, and most people who think they're asking stupid questions are not, so go right ahead.